We are not members of the LGBTQ plus community. We approach this podcast as learners, not experts. Our intent is to educate ourselves and engage thoughtfully, not to exploit or speak on behalf of others. The opinions shared are our own and may not reflect everyone's experiences. We welcome feedback and invite correction so we can continue to grow and be better allies. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to First Time in Drag. This is our ultimate episode for season 1, so we made it through a full season. Whoop, whoop. If this is the first time you're joining us, I am Kevin. This is Dax. We are your hosts as I, a somewhat seasoned drag race veteran, take my friend Dax, who, aside from a background in musical theater, doesn't really have any experience with drag or anything about the show, through the show for the first time. I have not seen the first 3 seasons, so this was also a first time watch through for me. The next 2 seasons will be that as well. I think we're excited to get to season 2, but very happy we made it through season 1. We have a reunion episode for you. We already covered the announcement of the winner. So this one is going to be mostly just us talking about the drama and everything that went through the whole season. If this is your first time joining us, do not start here. This is the worst probably episode for you to start because it's going to spoil everything about the whole season. So go back to the first episode and start from the beginning. I appreciate the animation there, Dex.
Hey, you're my pen, I'm your teller. I can get this going. Feel me?
That was a long intro for our ultimate episode on season 1, but I think we have a lot to talk about. There was a lot of drama. I want to start us off with any initial overall thoughts of the episode. So Dax, do you have anything you want to kind of sum up before we dive in?
For this episode, I mean, to sum it up, damn, you know what I mean? They did not hold back. I didn't expect them to. I didn't really know how this episode was going to go. But it did not disappoint. So if I had to summarize this episode, it would be damn. Just stamp it. Damn.
I was worried before we got into it, because I hadn't really seen any clips or anything. So I was worried that it might be a little tame and everyone would be a little bit too timid to really go after anybody. No, I don't know why I thought that. They weren't really that timid on the regular show. And they did not disappoint here.
No, it was great. I'm excited to kind of break down some of the things that some people said, because this is really what it is. It's just a big old talk fest.
It is. Yeah. We have the queens kind of come out in groups based on the order they were eliminated in. And there's a little bit of discussion between the queens and things that happened in the season for that. Then we get into some fan mail reactions, and the queens actually get the opportunity to critique the judges on the whole season. They bring Santino and God, what is her name? How do I keep forgetting her name?
Merle Ginsburg.
Thank you. My goodness.
Why does her name sound bigger than it actually is? I don't know who this Merle Ginsburg is, but is there a Merle
I feel like I
Ginsburg?
Do know who that person, Yeah, I think I get it. I don't
There's
know who this
be an
person
important
is,
person
but
in history.
Do I know who this person is?
Y'all gonna have to wait. I'm gonna look it up. Fuck it. Hold on.
Yeah, we knew we were recording a podcast for this, and not only did I not write down the names of the 2 judges, we also didn't do any research into it. So you guys are gonna sit here and do it with us.
Ginsburg. Maybe there's a more important Ginsburg. There's an Allen Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, of course.
Oh,
what? That's who I'm thinking of.
Just another Ginsburg. I see.
That's why she sounds so important. She's not, but Ruth Bader Ginsburg, definitely an important figure in history.
Yeah. So that interesting little aside. Yes, Merle Ginsburg and Santino come out, and the queens get an opportunity to like critique them back, talk about how they felt about their critiques, things like that. And it does get a little heated.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to get into that. But let's jump back to the queens first coming out. They each, of course, have their own reunion look. None of them were really all that astounding or genuinely very different from the things that they had come out in during their time on this season. So I don't have a ton of notes on that, to be
You know,
honest.
it was weird because, like, honestly, these were some of the worst looks of the whole season.
For
Strangely
some
enough,
people, yeah.
yeah, I think across the board, honestly, it was kind of disappointing. The looks that came out, it almost
Mm-hmm.
read like um just older. You know what I'm saying? Like the looks felt dated, whereas some of the looks in the show felt more cutting edge.
Okay. I think I can see that. I think everything looked. I'll say, as someone who's seen reunion episodes before for Drag Race, I do think this is an opportunity, or at least in the future, becomes an opportunity for queens to be like, "Hey, I was kind of broke and nobody knew who I was when I first came on the show, but now I've had a little bit of success. So here's like a new me, a like post show me, as like an opportunity to show how much the show has impacted them." I might be reading too much into that, but there appears to be almost an expected elevation of whatever you showed on the show to show up in the reunion. Does that make sense?
So the clothes were more expensive, as in they didn't make them themselves. But I really didn't get that feel. I didn't
No,
get that
I did
feel.
not. In fact, for Chanel, almost specifically the opposite. That was the most dressed down we've ever seen Chanel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they
Yeah.
kind of get into it, especially when Santino comes out. We'll go into that later,
Yikes.
but
Yeah.
I agree
Tough.
with you. Like, I would say BB and Nina dressed the best, with maybe Angina being up there relatively high, but Angina was just normal Angina like that. It wasn't specifically anything. And kind of the same for Nina and BB. In fact, maybe less glamorous and kind of over the top than some of the runway looks they had in the series. So I was
That's
also
what
a
I'm
little bit
saying.
disappointed. Yeah.
Coming off of like analyzing this stuff so closely and saying more about clothes than I've ever said in my entire life for the past however
Mm-hmm.
many weeks we've been filming this, um, I was disappointed, honestly, at the looks that came in the reunion piece here.
Me too. Me too. And because of that, aside from us having a little short conversation right now about Akasha having some shit on her top in
I
between
can't
her
wait. Oh my
tits,
god. Yeah, the
what the fuck was
Monica
that?
Lewinsky chic. Yeah.
What the fuck was that? Yeah, that's a little bit wild. But yeah, for the most part, we're not going to have a ton to say about their looks. We're not doing like a demo of any of the looks in the video. If you want to see them, look them up, or you should be watching the show with us, and then you'll understand why we don't really give a fuck about what they. Which is maybe the biggest critique of all, is that, you know what, we just don't even give a fuck to talk about it.
Nope.
Period.
Finally here for the drama.
Yeah,
Fuck all them clothes that they wore.
yeah. So getting into the drama and the queens coming out. The first queen, obviously, is the first queen to get eliminated, Miss Victoria Porkchop Parker. I wrote "still very pork chop" was like the first note that I had when she came out. Comes out first, has kind of a middle of the road interaction with Rue. Nothing really super interesting in my notes. You have anything to add to that?
No, she didn't eat beans or seeds or whatever the fuck.
No, totally normal, respectful. Just came out, said a few little, small talky things, and sat down.
Yeah.
Um, next, next up, Dax's favorite, Tammy Brown, eliminated.
Ugh.
Episode 2 comes out.
Still painting lipstick over her lips.
Still that very
Terrible.
like, what is it? I think it's like a 1920s like Betty Boop kind of style lipstick. The
Yeah,
like
but like
heart
done the wrong
shaped
way.
mouth.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, it doesn't look great. And Tammy's got this kind of awkward vibe in general, which
Yeah.
doesn't help. Tammy, I think it's apparent to me Tammy is not only happy that Tammy went home early. Tammy was like, it was a mistake to come on this show. I should not be here. I do not like anything about this. Like, just completely against it.
Honestly, yeah, it kind of felt like it. In fact, ooh, where are we? Can I talk about the hot slut comment for Tammy? Because there's no fucking way. Ain't no one talking to Tammy like she's a hot slut. Maybe like a funny ass bitch. Ain't no hot slut. Absolutely not. Whoever said that was lying or needs some serious fucking help, because Tammy is a fucking nightmare and no one can tell me differently.
Yeah, I thought that whole conversation was interesting. Tammy does get asked about her inspiration and says Tina Turner, of all people. I was not expecting that. I was expecting some kind of esoteric 1920s like Flapper Girl or something.
Pennywise the Clown.
Tina, you know. Yeah, exactly.
Hellraiser, maybe.
Tina Turner? Tina Turner?
Was not Tina Turner.
Where is Tina Turner in Tammy Brown?
There's no Tina Turner in Tammy Brown. Tina Turner can dance. Tammy Brown can hardly walk.
Can hardly stand up still, honestly.
Like,
Tammy is wild, but also full of amazing quotes. To the like slut comment you were talking about before, I wrote down, Tammy said, "I'm not a slut, I'm a lady. If you look under my skirt, it'll stick you in the eye, though."
That was pretty funny. Yeah, see? Funny ass bitch.
Crazy.
Not visually appealing comments whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. No, like the look is interesting. I think the look was a stretch when it was popular, like, and on really attractive women. I think it was a stretch. Tammy Brown kind of doing it extra mode in a very Grey Gardens kind of vibe is not slutty. I'll say that. Slutty is the last word I would use.
Yeah, listen, I think you told me about Grey Gardens. I don't know what the Grey Gardens vibe is, but I can tell you that if it's a horror movie, then I totally agree. 100%. She hits that right on. Bro, I'm telling you, nightmares about Tammy. Bro, you see that thing crawling at you down a hallway? What are you going to do? You're going to run.
Honestly, right? You wake up and you see Tammy Brown in your hallway at night running as fast as you can in the opposite direction. Yeah. That is exactly terrifying.
You can't say that same thing about all these other queens, but you see Tammy in the middle of the night, that's a horror show.
I'm getting the fuck up out of there. Something is going on, and I don't want to be here for it. Ooh. Whoa. Yeah, Tammy, ridiculous. And just the most checked out, like almost insulted that she's back. That's how checked out she is.
Honestly, she had that little portion and then like one little psst at the end, and that was it.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that. Tammy speaks up a little bit again when the judges come out. Next is Akasha, and we can get into this. Like, again, the outfit, nothing special, like not even really worth note, but has some like schmutz, some kind of spill, stain, something
schmutz
going
is
on.
Good. Yeah, a little cum on her tits.
Yeah, and it's like, first off, wild that we're walking out again on what is probably the biggest stage of your life, with some shit on your top. Like, what the fuck is that? And then Rue even asks, like she sits down and Rue's like, what's on your top?
Rue legitimately says, is this like a Monica Lewinsky cosplay? Like, you got a little...
That's true.
You got a little this on your top. And I don't know, for those that might be younger than me, I suppose, and don't remember, Monica Lewinsky was an aide in the White House, a secretary in the White House, that famously was caught giving sexual acts to the president at the time, Bill Clinton. Was caught by her roommate, or outed by her roommate, who found a blue like dress with cum stains on it that never got washed. And that's how like the whole thing just kind of got busted open. So here comes Akasha in a blue dress with oil stains. Looks like fucking cum.
A black wig. Yeah.
Like, and a black wig.
Kind of a Monica Lewinsky look. Yeah.
Kind of a Monica Lewinsky chic. Absolutely.
Yeah. So excellent reference on Rue's part. Kind of nail on the head. She says it's Afro Sheen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't, for the unmelanated in the audience, can you explain can you explain what
Yeah,
that
yeah.
might be?
It keeps the frizz down. It's like a mousse or a spray that's going to
Okay.
not only moisturize and make your hair nice and shiny and like give it that pow factor, that glisten in the sun, but also keep down like the frizz overall.
Okay. And just mistakenly got some on her dress right before walking out, was just like,
Put
fuck it,
too
I
damn
guess.
much. Put too damn much in her hair, and it must have dripped down on her dress. Because damn, if you've been using so much Afro Sheen that you dripped it on your dress, and it looks like fucking you were using a lot of motherfucking Afro Sheen, nigga. Because
Yeah.
damn,
Oof.
golly.
That's crazy to me. And like doesn't do a lot to help with the kind of generally trashy vibe that she was getting commented on for like
Yeah,
the whole
looking
season.
like a streetwalker. Yeah,
Yeah.
straight up. You look like a daytime hoe. And that's
Woof.
exactly the vibe that was given. Either you just got done blowing the president and you forgot to change, or you just got done with the John and you can't change because you're still at work.
Yeah, damn. But yeah, very true. Akasha gets introed, sits down, and gets asked about kind of her portrayal as the bitch of the season, right? They show some clips of Akasha uh, saying just genuinely kind of mean things about the other queens, which is entertaining to watch, not gonna lie, but also like just kind of genuinely mean, especially if you were like looking someone face to face and just said that to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she gets asked about being angry and like where this anger comes from, and she says it comes from her family and being kicked out when she was 17. I don't know about you. I feel like maybe it started before then. Maybe that might have had something to do with it. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, listen, Akasha was in 3 whole episodes, right? And we got
Yeah,
this same story in that 3 whole episodes that we got to
true.
watch with Akasha in them.
We already knew it.
And
Yep.
it was she literally said it this time, like, I am the way that I am because of my past and blah blah blah. Which again, I think we've spoken about. Your past is not a good reason to be an asshole,
Right.
right? You're an
Mm-hmm.
asshole because you're an asshole, whether your past was bad or not.
Yeah.
And I think wall of anger is her favorite excuse. I built up this wall of anger. This is why I have a wall of anger around me. Like, man, fuck you and your wall of anger. You need a better way of coping
Mm-hmm.
than being a fucking asshole. So
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, sure, maybe you had a rough past, but I promise you, part of the reason that past was so rough is because you are an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can kind of tell, I think, when you're watching, if you yourself has had any life experience or known anybody like Akasha, like she needs somebody to get that through because she needs help. Like I know I've seen how lonely life can be when you're like just a shitty fucking person to everybody around
Mm-hmm.
you, right? And it becomes this like horrible cycle where you're shitty at everyone around you, so you alienate yourself and you become really lonely, and then that loneliness is your excuse for being continuously shitty to everybody else that you meet all the time because you just
Yep.
assume that they'll leave you too. It's like they left you because you're kind of a fucking asshole, and if you were less of a fucking asshole, people would leave you less, and all of this would be better.
Yeah. Everyone in the world isn't a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit and no one likes you. Is
Yeah,
is the problem.
yeah. Yeah, very much that. Very much that. So sorry, Akasha. I hope you get the help that you need because you need some a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Finally, in this first group, we have Jade, who was eliminated on episode 4. One of the most controversial eliminations of the season. She comes out. She's looking good and Jade as always, right? Not in
Mm-hmm.
like a bikini bottom, so no issues with tuck that are apparent at the moment. Um, but yeah, comes out. I think Rue gets into. That's actually the first thing Rue gets into, right? Whenever she comes
Yeah.
out, is the
That's the
top.
first thing Rue says.
They go straight into clips of fucking, I think the first thing is Rue going, there are still a lot of stakes on this motherfucking plane.
Yep. Yep. And also the quote, damn, that's a beautiful woman with such a big cock. Like, my goodness. And then goes to ask Jade, so, Jade, how big is it? Are you
Everyone wants
with me?
to know.
I rolled my eyes so hard, like plugged my little straight ears.
That was
Did
so
not
funny.
care how big this dude's dick was. You know what I'm saying? But everyone was just so, and thank God, I don't think we got an answer. I don't know. Did we get an answer? I legitimately plugged my ears. I was a terrible audience member. I have a whole podcast I'm supposed to take notes on, but I give so little fucks about the size of this dude's dick.
That's so funny.
You know, go ahead and tell the people what they want to know.
I thought it was funny. No, there is not an answer. Rue even goes, just show me with your fingers. You don't have to say, just show me.
Just mouth it to me.
Just mouth it to me. No, you don't, you know, but no, there isn't an answer. But just clearly what's been on Rue's mind since Jade left, like first thing that we get into when Jade sits down, not opinions on anybody or anything, just that. That being said, after that conversation, Jade kind of pretty quickly opens up about how annoyed and frustrated she was with losing to Rebecca and how much she kind of dislikes Rebecca still.
Yeah, it becomes very evident around this point in the episode that Rebecca's not going to receive much love in this episode either. Much like the last episode, go back and watch that. Not a lot of love for Rebecca in this episode, which gets me stoked. I don't like Rebecca either.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, Jade kind of opens up. This is actually immediately gets into how she felt that Rebecca should have been disqualified in their lip sync for their lives because she was physically accosted during the whole thing.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. If I recall, we talk about this on that episode and how like surprisingly physical that lip sync got, and both of us were like, that was a lot. And then after seeing what Rebecca did, we were like, that's a whole lot. Like, I'm surprised we're not getting called out for that. That feels like very inappropriate.
Very line crossy, that lip sync for your life. And we don't really see much of that ever again.
No.
But yeah, that one stands out in particular.
It does. And it's kind of hard to disagree with Jade that at least some kind of action should have been taken on behalf of the show after that interaction. We do get Rebecca's side to the story when she comes out a little bit later. But yeah, I still think like grabbing the wig, kind of scratching her face, which didn't look to be intentional. It looked like just two people moving around each other and not really knowing where each other's going. And like a hand making contact with a face, not like like I'm gonna fucking claw your face.
It wasn't an attack for sure.
No, it definitely wasn't. It was more like I want to kind of run my hand through your hair, and I don't know where your head is, so I kind of miss you and kind of stab you a little bit with my nails. So I can also see Jade's point of view that like while you're going through it, it's hard to not put intention behind everything that happens and not think like, what is this bitch doing? Like, how dare you fucking touch me? I would be pretty upset, to be honest.
Yeah. The throat grabbing, the throwing on the floor. Honestly, to me, and I don't really, I mean, I almost side with Rebecca on this one, honestly. And I hate to say it, but I think, it was par for the course because Jade was the first person to put her hands on somebody. Yeah. And it continued to stay physical after that. So to me, it kind of was what it was. There are other reasons that Rebecca should have lost that. Rebecca should have lost that because she was not as good in the lip sync or the entire fucking episode, in my opinion. But I'm not sure that we're like, just like Jade was talking about, that we're at the point where there's grounds for disqualification for any reason.
I would agree with that. I think the disqualification call was a bit presumptuous, if not hopeful, on Jade's
Mm-hmm.
part.
Yeah.
But let's put a pin in this, because if we continue to talk about it, we'll have nothing to talk about when Rebecca comes out, really.
I
Because
know. Exactly.
that's
We
mostly
got to
her
wait.
story, too. So let's jump to Angina really quick. Angina comes out being classically Angina, does this like kind of breakdancing move thing at the end of the runway, which was a bit of a flex, especially in heels. Like, good shit.
Listen, best walk of the season. I said it.
Always.
The whole damn season, the best walk happened in the reunion, and it was Angina coming out and breakdancing in fucking heels. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy that we had to wait the entire season to see something this athletic, but go dog. I loved it. It was cool. Great breakdancing. I could never do that.
If anything, demonstrated Angina still had a lot more to show, which I think is another disappointment that she went home on episode 5 when she did. We had both been very vocal about how pro Angina we were. We're very pro Angina. And like, she was a very strong competitor from the get-go. So agree with you 100%, and kind of crazy she went home. Angina's segment does get a little emotional, though, because we get back into talking about, I think it was episode 4, when she comes out about being HIV positive. And we get a little more backstory here about Angina then going and telling, her mother, hey, I'm HIV positive. And just sad. Heartwarming stuff, because, like, luckily it went well for everybody, like, well as anything like that can go, right? Heartwarming, touching, very emotional. I wrote down, Angina said, I could die tomorrow because I've done so much. And I think we all wish we could live that way a little bit more. Like, that was a pretty touching moment, to get serious for a second.
Sure. Yeah. Great reality TV fodder. Got the tears going.
Oh, yeah.
And, the hearts thumping. Overall, yeah, feel for Angina, anyone having to suffer through that type of situation. Super happy to hear that Angina has at least a supportive mom. I'm not sure about the father situation, but the mom was called out. So great to hear about the supportive mother, supportive family and friends, and right, is still seemingly very energized and youthful and taking their affliction in stride.
Yeah. Very tough thing to go through. And, all the respect in the world for anybody living through that and able to deal with it in such a positive way. As we kind of said, right, Angina was one of the strongest competitors. And to be that while also dealing with something like this, and kind of the internal struggles that come with that, really, again, not to bring this all the way back around, but kind of fuck Rebecca. So really puts a spotlight on Rebecca's, like, immaturity and shit through the whole fucking thing. So, Angina, we love you. We appreciate you being honest and emotional with us, but we also want to make fun of Rebecca some more. So let's fucking move on.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Angina, absolute pro. Thank you for your service. But let's shit on some people.
No, yeah, exactly. We're here for shitting on Rebecca specifically because Chanel comes out. Chanel comes out, eliminated episode 6. And first off, this is the worst Chanel's looked all season.
Ooh, yeah, terrible. You know what? Other than being able to see most of his, I think, finally shaved head, this looked very badly done. Late 2000s, or maybe even early 2000s mom. Like, everyone had a mom or a friend's mom that took on this kind of style, and it wasn't graceful then, and it still isn't graceful now.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of shitty Real Housewives outfit to me.
Very, yes, yes.
Not even like a promo outfit that you'd see on like episode fucking 17 when, like, she's doing some random grocery shopping or some shit. Like an outfit she just threw together kind of look.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything to me. Not a Desperate Housewives watcher, but I can tell you that, dude, my friend's mom looked just like this when I was younger for sure. Ugh, and it was not pretty then.
Yeah, yeah, not a great look for Chanel. I don't know if it was like a statement from her about I'm just too perfect and fabulous all the time that I'm just going to come out looking like fucking a Wednesday with some casual separates. Like, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know.
But
She said her pants were $500. So, like, if those are
yeah,
casual walk around pants, then
I guess
sure.
not.
But
Yeah, maybe
damn.
elevated casual. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know enough about fashion to have a strong opinion. I just know that I didn't particularly like it.
I didn't like it. It was ugly. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Chanel gets straight into it about Rebecca, like straight into it. The meat of it comes out when Rebecca comes out. She, of course, let's just go ahead. Rebecca comes out because this kind of takes over the rest of the episode. Rebecca coming
really
out
does.
and the interaction of Rebecca with the rest of the queens, right?
Yep.
So Chanel comes out, they do their little thingy thing. I really don't think they talk about too much before Rebecca comes out, if they do whatever, because it's going to be about this. Rebecca comes out. I think this is maybe the best or one of the best looks Rebecca's done all season, but that bar is very low. Like Rebecca frequently look like exactly the same, right? So this is just like maybe she had enough time to prepare because apparently she needed 4x longer than everybody else in order to put on that fucking basic shit. But she comes out and immediately gets into it with the rest of the queens with Chanel. I think Rue starts by asking Rebecca about being perceived as the favorite of the show, and the other queens like not liking her, and she comes back with like everyone has their own opinion kind of stuff, and she's like, I'm used to dealing with jealousy. And then like when she says that, shit kind of hits the fan. Like everyone starts talking
because Chanel is sitting there just shaking, can't wait to say something. Yeah, absolutely, just hot in that seat. Can't wait for Rebecca to shut the fuck up so she can jump in. And I think, Chanel says a lot. Chanel, as you know, will always say a lot.
Yeah.
But it all basically boils down to her saying, I didn't lose to you. I chose to leave the show. Which, like, kinda, yeah. But in that way, you also, like, lost to her. You gave up on yourself, so that on its own is losing.
Yep.
Right? But if you hadn't have done that, I don't know. Maybe Rebecca had too much favoritism at that time and would have made it through anyway. But it's hard to say. It's really hard to say that if you hadn't had shit on yourself in that episode where you asked to be eliminated, would Rebecca still have been there?
Yeah, very true. Chanel, I think, says, like, I want to make it a point to let you know you did not beat me. I left. And it's, to your point, that's kind of the same thing. Like, a win's a win and a loss is a loss.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that hits quite as hard as Chanel wants it to hit. But yeah, 100% shit on herself, kind of knocked herself out of that episode. And then goes into that favoritism and specifically the negativity about her. Now, I can only speak from my point of view. I think Chanel very much had like a negativity bias on her memories and like didn't remember any of the positive things anyone said and literally only remembered the negative things anyone said. So while I agree there was favoritism, while I agree there were times that the judges said Chanel didn't do as well as I thought she did, things like that, I will agree with all that. Do I think the judges kind of only ever shat on Chanel like they just didn't like her? No. Like maybe a couple of instances you could argue that, but for the whole thing, I think that's a little bit extreme.
See, here's the problem, is that none of these people know how to properly express themselves without getting lost within themselves. And what I think Chanel missed here is you're correct. Not everything that they said about Chanel was negative. Chanel definitely got some positive comments. But the problem is, most of the things that Chanel received as negative feedback was more about things that Chanel couldn't change very
Mm-hmm.
well, at least. Mostly what felt like very personal things, like you're too perfect, right? You're not vulnerable enough. You like, what the fuck kind of feedback is that?
Mm-hmm.
And I get how that feels more degradatory about the person that you are and less about what the fuck this is, which is a fashion show.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about how you didn't like my clothes. Tell me how you didn't like my walk. You're going to tell me that I'm not fucking vulnerable enough? Like, I get
Mm-hmm.
where Chanel's coming from. However, that's not what Chanel said. So we didn't get to have that conversation, unfortunately, in this episode, because again, not a lot of these people know how to express themselves very well, at least with words.
Yeah, I think that's very true. There is honestly kind of the only critiques they could give to Chanel because of how perfect and kind of thoughtful and on point she was with almost everything that she did. That's
Yeah.
almost right. We were here for the Oprah Winfrey episode, right? We were here for Chanel not having the strongest performance and having plenty to critique. But then there were times when Chanel was in her element and was doing very well. In fact, she specifically cites talking about the girl fight challenge.
Yeah.
Um, I think we get back into this a little bit later on when the judges come out. We definitely get back into the Chanel critiques and kind of what the judges say. So we'll dive into that a little bit more. But Chanel at this moment with Rue out there brings up the girl fight challenge and was like, I think it's crazy that Rebecca gave herself Temple, who was already a pretty feminine woman,
Mm-hmm.
and made her like basically put lip gloss and eyeshadow on her. And you guys said it was the biggest transformation when I had probably the most masculine presenting person out of all of the women. And I turned her into like a diva. And
Yeah.
like, I kind of 10,000% agree with that
Hard
take.
to disagree. Hard to disagree.
Yeah.
100%. Rue disagrees, though, which
Rue.
is fucking crazy to me.
It is. And Rue kind of explains a little bit and says, you know, I've been beating faces for a long time. And when I looked at Temple, no offense to Temple, I just didn't see it. And it's like that, first off, for even if that's true, like Rue, I will grant you, I don't know fuck all about doing makeup, especially on someone else. So like, I'm not in a position to be like, how did you not see it? I could see it. It was very obvious, blah, blah, blah. Right. I don't know shit. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
granting that being the case, that is maybe at best a third of the challenge. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like at best a third. At worst, it's less than a quarter of the challenge was how well
Honestly.
they looked in the makeup. Like it was important,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the whole fucking challenge. And to say that Rebecca, or to even imply that Rebecca earned that win because Temple had a bad face for makeup is fucking crazy.
Crazy. We've got so many other elements: clothes, walk, hair,
Walk. They had to
the
do a
lip sync.
fucking lip sync. Yeah.
Yeah. There's tons of other elements, and we're going to zoom in on. I've been doing makeup for a long time, and I think Temple had a hard face to do makeup on.
Yeah.
All right, Rue.
Chanel
Whatever.
had someone with a completely different complexion, completely different bone structure. Like
Mm-hmm.
Chanel
I see that
easily
we're
had the hardest
still.
challenge. Yeah.
I see that Rebecca's still knocking on that dressing room door, bro. I see where this is going.
Yeah. Yeah. Rebecca been hanging around. That's why she looked
I'm
like just a
saying.
normal day because she was just on set already when they were
Yeah, she was
filming it.
already there.
She was
Exactly.
there. She had just showed
She
up.
rode there with Rue. Shit.
Yeah. 100%. Because I thought that was crazy. I thought that was just madness, honestly. Let me see. Anything else really happened here before we bring out Nina and BB? I don't think so.
Can we talk about how real quick Rue seems to just make songs about these people? Like she
Yeah.
keeps like plugging all of these new songs. Is available on iTunes. I wrote this song about angina. It's called Ladyboy. I wrote this song about all the other queens is called champion. And it's
Yep.
like, damn, Rue, I feel like you got to have more inspiration than that. I wrote this song about angina and about fucking all these queens that just happen to be on the season 1 of my show. We got to reach a little bit deeper than that, Rue.
Look, Rue just out here monetizing. All right.
I hear that.
That's all
Hey,
that
listen,
is.
I'm here for the check. But like, woo, we can keep what it's about in the, in the background. You ain't got to tell me I wrote this song in 5 minutes about angina.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty funny. I thought that too. I was like, damn, like Champions inspired by all of you. Like this song inspired by China. It was like this whole ass album was inspired by season 1. It's like,
yeah, seriously.
Better start paying these queens royalties. Shit.
Honestly, that's what I'd be asking. If I was on China's like, listen, I need some money, Rue. If this is about me,
we're that
made
3 to
it public.
5% kickback. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 100%. Ooh, yeah. So the queens already getting into it. I mean, all the queens are staying out on stage, by the way, as they're coming out. So like Jade is on stage and also involved in the conversation about Rebecca and like being fake when Chanel's going in on her and all this stuff. So it does kind of become a bit of a dog pile on Rebecca before we bring out Nina and BB. But all of it kind of aligns with the same things, right? Like Jade does bring up the roughhousing, for lack of a better term, that occurred in the lip sync.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what it was, really.
Yeah. And Rebecca does kind of come back with a rebuttal about Jade touching her first. And she's like, anybody who watched that lip sync can see you get behind me and like grab up all of my tits and my snatch and like bend me over and all this stuff. And she was like, that was embarrassing. Like I was insulted and embarrassed, even more embarrassed than when you got called out for your tuck, which I thought was a wild, like stray shot to just get in there real quick.
It was pretty funny, but she's young. She was trying to make it real, right? What was Rebecca, like 24 or 23 or some shit like that?
So early 20s. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just early 20s, like rationalization, right?
Yeah. Yeah. True. But it's like, you touched me first. From kind of hearing, especially now after both of them have explained sort of how they felt about the whole situation, I do think there might be a little bit of 100% Jade initiated that. Like that's inarguable. It's filmed.
Absolutely.
We can see it in the order of events. Jade is the first one to put hands on Rebecca. That happens. Yep. And it's in a kind of invasive way. It's not even like a general fun, playful that then got turned rude. It was like, it started pretty rude from Jade.
Yeah.
Totally see that. Yeah. I do think maybe Rebecca in that moment was genuinely very embarrassed and like kind of very off put by the whole situation. And maybe that does lean her to be slightly more aggressive on her response. Because like while what Jade did was very inappropriate and like violating, it wasn't particularly aggressive, right? Where like what Rebecca did is arguably aggressive, especially the hand on the throat and kind of pushing her down to the stage, right?
Yeah, I think women might disagree with you overall.
Fair. I mean, again, invasive and very inappropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, I think to us, maybe, little boop, 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 boop may not be aggressive feeling.
That's a fair point.
But to a woman or someone who maybe even is like female presenting, like that is an egregious, like invasion of your space and property and feels super malicious and, sexual violence is still violence at the end of the day, right? And I think that it got heated. And where Rebecca's touch or like overstepping may have looked more violent and malicious, like I have to give credence to what Rebecca's saying here. It's still both times were violent and could have been perceived as malicious.
Yeah, I think that's some really solid points. I think both of their behavior is inexcusable. I think kind of that's both of our takes on it when we reviewed it in the episode. Both of us were like, why are
I
y'all
thought it was
touching up
hot.
on each other like that?
Yeah, like I didn't know if it was allowed or not, but I was like, damn, this is fucking fire. This is smoke. She's choking her. She's fucking grabbing her tits. Like this is the hottest fucking like smokiest fucking shit that we can get down. It's the battle of the fish already. Like
Yeah.
they're duking it out. And even though Jade was dancing circles around Rebecca, and for that reason I thought Rebecca should have gone home, like they were both going at it, man.
That's true. That's true. And to be fair, like they kind of end up, at least from that standpoint, on an even playing field. From a dancing standpoint, Jade, from a lip sync standpoint, Jade should have won that. That was a better lip
Big
sync
time.
on Jade's part. But
Hell, all
I
the
can,
other queens are like, we thought Jade won that episode.
yeah,
And she didn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. It was shocking to say the least. And yeah, like high emotions and stuff aside, like both of the touching without consent is obviously inappropriate and shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
No matter the situation. The situation didn't call for it. The challenge didn't call for it. There was no reason for that to have happened, and it shouldn't have. Right.
Right.
Let's go ahead and bring out our last two queens, because I think Nina kind of agrees with you a little bit and has a good way of saying it when talking about Jade and Rebecca in that episode. But our last two queens come out, of course, our runner-up, Nina Flowers, and our winner, Bibi Zahara Benet. Again, both of them in kind of classic persona looks. Bibi maybe a little bit outside of the like full Cameroon she normally goes, and
Yeah.
has kind of this
full
like
Cameroon. I like
red
that.
jacket thing on. Yeah. They both look very good. Like they both tend to look the best throughout the season, and they kind of carry that here, which makes sense that they're both kind of the winner and runner up. But then once they're out, aside from like some general, do you have any like details you want to go in here? Because I was just going to summarize them both being very nice to each other about everything that happened.
Oh, details in like the interview with Bibi and Nina?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I think that they couldn't have had a better top two. Couldn't have had a more respectful top two. It was very evident that there was a benevolent relationship there.
Yeah.
Whether they were competitors or not, they both respect each other so much. Nina, very obviously didn't win, but didn't win gracefully and understood how it could have gone either way and why Bibi was the choice. Either way, I think both of these people's lives have been transformed by the show and will be, forever successful because of it.
Yeah, I think, Nina, I believe I wrote down, said specifically it was an honor to lose to Bibi. Because she's such a great competitor and like so genuine and honest. So yeah, very, very cordial between the two of them. I agree that they were probably the two best. I would throw on China should have been probably third up there with them. But I agree that no matter how the rest of the season went, the finale was great because of these two. And
Big
like
time.
Bibi winning, I feel it's hard to argue against that for anyone on the season, for anyone who watched the season. Like she stood out. She and Nina both stood out, but Bibi
The whole
did
time.
ultimately kind of walk away with it. Yeah, and I think that's part of why Nina respects her so much, because she could see it too, right? She was there.
Listen,
she saw what we saw.
You know my opinion. If you don't think Bibi won, fuck you, right?
Yeah.
And if Bibi didn't win, we wouldn't be talking about,
Fuck the
at
show.
the end of this episode, we wouldn't be plugging season 2.
Yeah.
Spoiler, we're going to plug season 2 at the end of this episode. Why? Because Bibi won, and I'm still here for it.
Yeah. So great duo. We do get a little bit more insight into Bibi and kind of what Bibi's life has been like since the show, and getting some of the threats and things from like African men, and talking about like how important it is that Bibi's had the opportunity to kind of step out and portray who they are and what they believe to the rest of the world. So that's a big thing too. And I also think sort of plays into why Bibi was ultimately the right choice to wear this crown and kind of carry this legacy moving forward.
It's really interesting. I watched the show with my wife, of course, if anything, to at least feel somewhat masculine while I'm still watching a show about drag queens. But so, you know, Rue was asking BB about when they moved to the US, which was around like 21, 22, so very young. But not young enough to be like US influenced by the time you get over here, right? So still very African. And asked, when did you start drag? And the answer was kind of funny. It was like in the airport, right? As soon as I got here to America. And I laughed and I looked at my wife. I was like, yeah, because in Africa, you get killed for that kind of shit. And then lo and behold, right, just a few moments later, BB's talking about getting a letter from African men, or letters or communication from African men. And one of them being, you come back here, we would burn you alive. It's like, that is very much from my experience, not that I've been to Africa for any amount of time. From my experience, that is the attitude for homosexuals from a very male-dominated culture in Africa.
Yeah, and especially thinking that, remembering that this is going down in like 2008, 2009, where like there, as little progress that may have been made, 17 years makes a big difference. And back then, there were all kinds of horror stories coming out. Like there were a lot of political instability and like regime changes and stuff happening in Africa through this time period. And there was just a lot of dangerous things going on, and can 100% understand where, well, maybe not understand, but at least sympathize maybe from where BB is coming from, and just how terrifying that whole experience would be, and probably still is in a lot of ways, because she's now so in the spotlight.
Oh yeah, because now you're a lightning rod, right? Now you're the example that they hate, and that's I could only imagine that's tough. And you know what? It's 2025 when we're filming this, and from what I understand, those attitudes haven't changed much.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's rough. So yeah, BB, a great person to wear that, a great person, I think, to bear that burden, because just doing it with such grace and civility is fucking astounding.
That's what's beautiful. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, she asked, what makes a strong man? And like, it's kind of hard to say standing up for what you believe in, despite what other people think, doesn't make you strong, at least in some way.
Right? Oh, absolutely. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So again, some more touching stuff before we get back into shitting on everybody and what we think about how things went in the season. So all the touching stuff aside, we get back into it. Nina does chime in a little bit, jumping all the way back to the Rebecca and Jade elimination, where Jade goes home. Nina is talking about this and says she was surprised that Jade went home, because Jade outperformed in the challenge, outperformed in the lip sync, and outperformed on the runway. It was like, kind of despite everything else that went home, I feel like Jade should have won that challenge, much less been eliminated and lost to Rebecca for it.
Yeah, so maybe I jumped ahead. I couldn't remember who said it. I didn't write it down. And the fact that it was Nina gives it even more credence. My goodness. Jade honestly killed that episode. We could go back and we maybe shit on Jade during that episode. I don't remember. I think I remember like there being nothing wrong. I felt like it was relatively, middle performance, run of the mill.
Yeah, I don't think we shit on Jade.
But yeah, overall, for there to be multiple people thinking that Jade should have won the episode, and then for Jade to go home later, really sends a message, doesn't it?
Yeah, really kind of genuinely wild. And there is kind of a full consensus that Rebecca, I think even at one point, Rue asks the group by a show of hands, who thinks Rebecca should have not made it to the top 3? And Chanel, Akasha, and Jade, all 3 raised their hands. BB and Nina, far too political. BB, Nina, and Angina, far too political to ever make a full, bold stance like that. But they have both said, and Nina even kind of confirmed earlier, just before that was asked, that they think Rebecca probably should have gone home earlier. BB was asked what she thought about Rebecca being in the final three, and she started with, I was surprised. And then she was like, well, then also maybe not surprised. So like half and half. It's like,
yeah, not surprised because she had a bunch of favoritism fueling her on the way there. Yeah,
exactly. Like, it's pretty clear that everybody agrees with this, except Victoria and Tammy don't really vote. Neither of them were on the show all that long. And I would fully believe Tammy has not watched the series, does not give a fuck about learning anything else about it. So she might have just been like, I honestly don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm here. You guys are paying me for this show. I'm here.
Yeah. So pretty clear, I think, not just from us as viewers having this opinion that Rebecca got further than she should have, but also from everybody on the panel of contestants, also kind of, at least at one point or another, voicing an opinion that Rebecca maybe got some favoritism that she shouldn't have. I personally thought it was a bit surprising that Rue didn't open up and be a little more candid about the favoritism, given that it was addressed in the finale, that they do when the contestants are not around. We do see the judges talk about the favoritism that Rebecca has gotten and how they feel like they went overboard with it. So I was fully expecting them to be upfront about that on the reunion. I think I can see why they didn't do that and why they probably wouldn't and shouldn't have done that. But I was kind of thinking they would, and I was a little disappointed that Rue didn't go, yeah, there was a little favoritism.
Yeah, I think Rue stays pretty close to the chest with that sort of thing. You know, they caught her saying some things in the last episode or the grand finale. But otherwise, I don't think she would openly admit to having gone in a different direction, making a wrong choice, so on and so forth.
There's no value to be gained from that, right? It only degrades the entire situation. So it's very much everyone can know what's going on, but you can never say what is going on.
Because then what would they watch season 2 for?
Right.
We got to sell the next season.
Right. Exactly. Got to keep that credibility. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So a lot of people going in on Rebecca. We don't get a ton of resolutions. Rebecca kind of apologizes, kind of doesn't. You can tell that she's feeling a little attacked and she's a bit younger. So her response to me feels defensive in a lot of ways, but she does genuinely seem upset by how upset everybody else is at her and doesn't want to be in the position where Akasha, to draw a comparison, kind of has a little bit of, I just kind of want to be this person. And if you don't like it, fuck you,
Yeah. Feeds off of being an asshole a little bit. Whereas Rebecca almost stumbles into it.
Yeah. Just, I think young and immature. And I think there's some insecurity that maybe she's trying to cover up with confidence that comes across as arrogance and
likely.
Yeah. It seems complicated where Akasha you just being an asshole. Right. You just being an asshole. It's Rebecca's being an asshole, but I'm not sure Rebecca is mature enough to realize how much of an asshole she's being right now.
And that's just it. And I think it's even more annoying, honestly.
Yeah, a little bit.
For her to be that way.
Especially with how cocky she gets in the later episodes of the season. Where she's just feeling herself, dude. She's coming off a couple of undeserved wins and it's just, woof. Just riding high. And it was ooh, that hurts me so much.
Just fed off of bullshit and favoritism that whole time.
Yep. Yeah. So, woof. Not a lot of a resolution that has happened yet. It's really just been a lot of queens kind of voicing their opinions about stuff. We move on to a segment of the show where we get some fan mail reactions. I only have a couple notes here. I don't know how much you have.
I have none because it was just kind of meh.
It was kind of meh. I don't know that the producers picked questions that were quite bold enough. Maybe Rue picked the questions. I'm not sure, but none of the questions were particularly bold. One of the fans did call Akasha a day shift hooker, which I wrote down, which was pretty funny. And was asked if she had ever thought about upgrading her looks. She wrote, I already do. And I wrote, where? Are the upgraded looks in the room with us? Because what platform do you have that isn't this reunion right now to demonstrate that?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I didn't see it in the show. I'm not going out and looking for other looks for you, but you said you have them. I sure hope you do, because I can't disagree with what that fan said.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Something I did want to talk just a little bit about is Chanel being asked about her headpiece falling off in that lip sync for your life when she had the Medusa look,
Yep.
and being asked if that was intentional or not. And Chanel said it was. She said,
Yeah.
I just gotten those critiques and I thought the only way to be vulnerable was to just let it go. And so, like, it worked out well that it fell off in kind of a theatrical way. But yeah, I just sort of let go on purpose. I think that's interesting. I don't know. Like, it sounds to me like she's saying she just let go and was vulnerable on stage and it happened to fall off. And that was part of that vulnerability. So it was intentional. But it also kind of sounds like she was like scheming before the before the lip sync. It was like, if I make my headpiece fall off a little bit later, they'll think I'm vulnerable. Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't think that was happening. But I do believe that she was intentionally trying to like let loose and not care so much about that on stage.
I do think that she was intentionally trying to destroy her costumes. Like, she got the feedback that she needs to be more vulnerable, and like, what the fuck? I said it earlier. Like, what does that even fucking mean?
It's
We're
annoying.
here
Yeah.
dressing up as women so you can comment on how I look, right? You're gonna tell me that I'm not vulnerable enough? Okay, well,
It's like,
I'm pretty. So we're commenting on my looks. How can I be more vulnerable? I guess I'll just destroy what the fuck I'm wearing. And
yeah.
is that going to read as vulnerable to you? And so, like, I fully believe that she went backstage and was like, maybe not scheming, but is like, I don't know what else to do. During this lip sync, I'm going to jump up and down and hopefully some shit falls off. And I'll be
Just roll with it.
just I don't, what's his name? Billy? I don't care. I'll just be fucking, short hair Billy up on stage singing this damn song, and
I think it's
hopefully
Brian.
that'll do it. Yeah, sure.
Brian is Chanel's name. Yes, I agree. Like, I do think there was very much Chanel kind of having a point in, fuck it, then I'm not going to worry about how I look. I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm just going to come out here. And, like, in a way, that's kind of what the judges were asking about. Like, I think the judges, and this is part of my problem with Santino specifically, but in general, I think maybe even a younger Rue was struggling with this. Like, I think they were having a hard time voicing that, like, you are perfect in everything that you're doing, but I can see on your face that you are worried about being perfect while you are doing it. And that kind of hurts your performance. Like, it needs to feel effortless, whether or not we all know that it isn't effortless, right? But it needs to feel and appear effortless while it's happening. And it, from my critiques, the judges didn't say this, from what I saw, Chanel never felt effortless.
So by that you mean like Chanel felt like a try hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know how like in modern day like short form media, right? The harder you try, the less likely it is to take off, go viral. And like as a whole, people like millennials and younger really don't like the more polished like takes. So like you basically have to strip everything away, try like do well without actually trying hard or seeming like you're trying hard, because the nonchalant is really what sells today. Like I can see that. I can see that out of Chanel's performance, but also that's like a weird, maybe I'm dating myself, so like maybe it is within the 2008 2009 era, but it feels like a weird era for that to be like taking place, for that to be the feedback.
Yeah, and I think the feedback maybe misaligns with the perception of the show here in season 1, because this show is set up very much in a like America's Next Top Model kind of way, in a Project Runway kind of way. And it implies that the show is what you would assume, right? Especially at face value. These are a bunch of gay men coming up here and dressing like women and attempting to be as beautiful and entertaining as possible, right? To that end, Chanel nailing it, like across the board, aside from, some of the moments where Chanel's maybe not the best direct one-on-one interviews, etc. Chanel has a lot of very strong suits, is a very strong performer, is quite professional about things. I think does well, and honestly would have done better through later episodes in the season had she not been beaten down so much for something that feels unrelated to what the show is about. Right?
Yes.
That being said, I think, and this is a flaw on the show and on Rue and on the judges and on them, not on the contestants. I think the judges wanted the show to be about who you are as a person as much as it is about who you are as a performer. I don't think that was as clearly communicated to everybody. But I do think the seeds are there for us as a viewer to kind of understand that that's where the judges were coming from. Like the one-on-one interviews, the like giving bonus points to people for like opening up about personal situations and things like that. Like, I think the judging rubric is just super muddy here in season 1. I think they're inconsistent about what they critique people on and when. And I think because Chanel was so strong as a professional, as a, fashionista, as doing makeup, all of it, that the only thing they could critique Chanel on was who she was as a person. And I don't think there was any framework set up for that to make sense to her. So like, I think that was a big misstep by the show.
I can agree to that. I think it's part of the reason why BB won. Is because she's the
full package.
Like, yeah, she's so packaged together. She's the pro.
Right. And like, if you look at the show through that lens and you understand that that is what they're looking at, like, I think the critiques of Chanel make more sense because like, I need you to be this, but I need you to be this on camera and off camera. And like the person Chanel is off camera is not the person Chanel is on camera.
No. And the person Chanel is on camera isn't super great either. It's like this overrunny, kind of super chatty. Yeah. And again, wants to be so perfect that like the word combinations just don't come out well because she's constantly editing as she's speaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if that is the critique, then can wholly agree where that's coming from. But you're right. The music, the rubric is muddy. The music is rubby, is what I wanted to say. And it wasn't. Yeah, I don't think that was presented to the queens in a way that gave them the ability to edit themselves to become what the judges wanted.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a good segue into the judges coming out and the queens talking to the judges about how they felt. And I feel like this probably would have been a good platform had, I think, anybody at the time really put together this is what was going on. I think this would have been a really good platform for Rue and the judges to set the record straight and be like, hey, these were other things that we were judging you guys on, and maybe we didn't make that clear, et cetera, et cetera. That is not what happens.
No,
not what happens at all. It gets very heated very quickly.
Before we get into the heated part, I want to talk about something that BB said, and then Merle echoes like a little bit.
Okay.
BB says, and I wrote down this quote, create our images based on inspiration from women, which is kind of a beautiful thing to say. And like this whole time I've been like struggling with like whether or not this whole thing is kind of appropriation of like the culture of women and like how do women really feel kind of about this. But I think that these men see it as like almost empowering women because they want so badly to like glamorize the way that they feel about women, how they're inspired from women. And then Merle goes to say almost the same thing, echo the same thing, and how she felt inspired of seeing what she feels is feminism in some of the like softer, what was it? Softer, more like soft nurturing, warm, soft and warm looks that she got. And that's really interesting to me. I wanted to unpack that just a little bit, because that seems like really, really like narrow, in my opinion. And listen, Merle's a woman. I'm not. But to me, not all of the looks that we got were soft and warm.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were very cold and very edgy. But I think, like, man, women are on such a large spectrum. Like, women are just people too, you know what I mean? And where some are warm and soft, some are, you know, hard and cold.
Yeah.
If that's the like opposite of warm and soft look, I don't know, but edgier, you know. So I don't know. That was weird to me to come from the one, like Rue says, the one full-time woman on this show. That was like a really, really weird analysis to me that didn't really sit well. I was like, I feel like a lot of women are going to disagree with that.
I mean, obviously, as we've said many times before, we are neither gay men nor drag queens nor women. So like our opinions are always going to be from the outside looking in at this stuff. But yeah, I had a similar take. Both of the judges, the segment that you're talking about right now, both of the judges, as soon as they come out, kind of give a little bit of background about themselves and how they interacted and learned from the show. And that's Merle's take, is very much, I went back and reflected on what I thought was femininity. And in my mind, when she started talking about this, I was like, oh, interesting. I wonder if it's going to be like, this helped sort of break down some of those gender roles. And like, you know, I started to see everything as, you know, a bit more broad than I had initially thought. But to your point, she doesn't really do that. She kind of almost goes more narrow and is like, kind of lands on like their traditional womanly traits too. Like doesn't, it's almost like it reinforced her dichotomy to like the most narrow definition of what like a feminine person is. And that was like beneficial to her. And I was like, kind of the whole point of us doing this podcast is like, I don't know that I agree with that take. And I think the kind of purpose of this is to broaden that view, and that all kinds of people have all kinds of tastes, and like gendering specific behavior or clothes or attitudes or anything is kind of silly, and everyone should be able to do what they want in the way that, you know, makes them feel the best about themselves. And to hear her kind of have a more narrow take was shocking. So I agree with you on that for sure.
Yeah, listen, man. If anything has happened during this season, it is confirmed that I am straight as fuck.
Yeah, you ever insecure with your sexuality? Watch this, because you'll know either way, right?
Yeah, you'll know one way or another.
One side or the other.
I am straight as hell, but even I can recognize that was such a weird take. That honestly, especially as a girl dad, like, just wholly disagree with. I don't think being soft and warm is what makes femininity. And that seems to be Merle's take, and that is so small-minded, in my opinion. Sorry, Merle, but that's why you're not important. I'm all about the other Ginsburgs.
That's why we like the other Ginsburgs better. Ruth Bader would never.
Never.
Would never. But yeah, you know, and look, femininity, I think, in your expression is unique to you. And if she meant I would prefer to express myself more in these ways because that makes me feel more feminine, then I'm not opposed to that. But kind of, especially as a judge on a show where femininity is part of the rubric and part of the critiques, to take and say, I only really resonate with this one narrow avenue of it, and this whole show kind of cemented that into my head, to me feels very much missing the point.
Oh, absolutely. Does Merle stick around?
I don't know if I've ever seen her as a judge, to be honest. So I don't think so. Maybe in like season 4 this and might stuff. Be why. But I know Michelle Visage as kind of the ongoing biological woman on the show. I don't really know Merle Ginsburg much.
Wow.
And
this
that
might be the last
one.
time we see Merle.
Yeah, maybe.
Yikes.
Maybe Merle, you're not the best person to be on this show right here. You know. Aside from Merle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Santino comes out and gives a little insight into his judging as well. He mentions he's the only one on stage that has been on both sides of the aisle here and has been a contestant on a show like Project Runway, which he was, right? And then come back and been a judge later. And he kind of uses that as a way to do what I think all judges, judges who aren't necessarily particularly thoughtful about their critiquing tend to
Mm-hmm.
leverage this excuse, which is it's easy to blame the judges and not look at yourself, but like you really got to just let that go. It's like, okay, but you're also as a judge a little bit passing the buck here and not like taking any self responsibility for anything that you say.
Yeah, I think he also says something about being able to take the critique or take the personal attacks and like persevere or turn them into something good. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
if you're critiquing me correctly, right, then it would be constructive. It doesn't seem like all of your critiques were constructive in nature.
Nah. And that's a great segue. Let's jump into Santino and Chanel's little back and forth
Mm-hmm.
about Santino
Let's do.
critiquing her because the critique Santino goes into critiquing Chanel's look live in front of her on stage.
So unnecessary. So
Yeah,
incredibly unnecessary. I almost covered my eyes.
I
I
thought it
couldn't
was
watch.
crazy. Yeah,
Dude, for him to be like, and then she's like, bro, these are $500 pants. Like,
yeah,
my pants are more expensive than everything you have on right now. He's like, you overpaid for them because them pants are shit. It's like,
yeah,
oh, listen, I love, I love gangster ass shit, but I only love gangster ass shit when like you're right, I think. And
yeah.
this was really, really hard to get behind because this felt like just a continuation of exactly what Chanel had a problem with, which
Mm-hmm,
was feeling pretty personally attacked. And
mm-hmm.
while what Santino said was about the clothes, finally, it was in response to someone's genuine concern about feeling personally attacked. And his response to that was, I'm going to continue to critique you, even though we are no longer in a scenario where I am the judge and you are the competitor.
Yeah, now that it has become
Crazy.
wholly inappropriate for me to do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I took some notes on this because there were some specific things that were said by Santino. Um, as you mentioned, Chanel is at taking this moment given to her and the rest of the contestants to voice their genuine opinion about how they were judged on the show, to share that and essentially say like the same things. Like, you made me feel like shit. I don't feel like anything you said to me was constructive or particularly helpful about what I did. And I don't remember you ever saying anything nice to me about anything. And Santino kind of starts his whole, I don't know, apology, explanation, whatever the fuck you could call this response, with some people are born with style and some people just aren't. And basically implies Chanel just doesn't have it, just doesn't have the eye, just can't fucking see it. By the way, I have never seen Santino put anything together that I am personally impressed by. And that's
He
coming
wears
from
the
watching
same
Project
fucking
Runway
thing.
and shit. Yeah. I don't think Santino's a particularly good designer, period. Right? Which is part of the reason I have such an issue with some of his takes on the runway. But the biggest issue is the one you said. It's not fucking constructive. And we'll talk about it right now. Some people are born with it, some people aren't. How the fuck is that constructive to me, Santino? You want me to die and get like revived and come back with it? Or like, what the fuck? Do I need to be reincarnated as a new person in order to improve my fashion skills? That's not fucking helpful. Then goes on to specifically critique the top looks cheap. The pants are just wrong, is what he says. He goes,
Yeah.
a paper bag dressed up in loofahs is sometimes better than a full Swarovski crystal dress. That's just wrong. What is just wrong? What does just wrong mean? How do I act on that? Right? Like, the only thing you're telling me is that you just personally have some ambiguous problem and you are not intelligent enough to put it into any kind of constructive, like, framework. So you're just going, yeah, I don't like it.
What you're telling me is you don't like me.
Yeah.
Is pretty much what he said there, right? He said
Yeah.
some people are born with style, some people are not. Speaking directly to Chanel, saying you don't have style.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a paper bag with loofahs on it
dressed up in
is
loofahs,
better than a Swarovski crystal dress. First off, no, it's not.
No,
But what he's saying is to you, Chanel, who is always perfect, like a Swarovski crystal dress, I would rather see someone who is a paper bag with loofahs on it. That's how much I don't like you.
Yep.
And bro, once again, and again, Chanel wasn't articulate enough to say this. Kind of putting a nail in the coffin of you are personally attacking me, right? You're personally attacking things about me that you don't like. That is not specifically what I'm wearing.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I think Santino did a lot of harm to his point by just 100% doing exactly what Chanel was complaining about while Chanel was complaining about it.
Yeah.
Like, nothing constructive out of what Santino said. Like, just personal opinion shit. And personal opinion about who Chanel is, and not like about what Chanel is capable of or what Chanel could even grow into if you don't think she's there yet, right?
Crazy.
All kind of crazy stuff, but also goes, a large way into explaining why I have such an anti-Santino take on most things. Because, like, I just don't think he's a good judge. I don't think he's a good critic because he doesn't help anybody with anything.
Nope, he's a well-paid idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Rue is trying to act as a bit of a mediator here as the queens all start opening up about being critiqued and like things hurting and some of the things the judge is saying being like rude or them taking it personally. And Rue kind of comes back to all of that sentiment with, well, to be clear, there's a sentiment of the queens feeling like the judges were somewhat unfair and the judges were critiquing some things about them personally that they shouldn't have been, i.e. this conversation with Chanel. I agree with all of that. On the other end, there was some disappointment, and this is also when Tammy Brown kind of speaks up a little bit. There's some disappointment from some of the queens about how things were quote unquote negative, that the critiques they were getting were so negative. And like, Rue comes back with like, this is a competition show and you are in a scenario where we are acting as judges. We can't just be like, oh, that was great, everything's perfect every time you come up, because that's fucking boring and it doesn't help anybody, right?
Yeah, there's no dynamic to that.
Yeah. Tammy is not having that. Tammy does not agree with that excuse. Tammy is talking about there's so much negativity in the world. Why do we have to continue to embody that negativity here on this show? And Rue is like, if you come on this show, or if you want to get into this line of business and you need other people to tell you that you're amazing, to tell you that you're good, to tell you that you're important, you will never fucking make it, because no one will ever fucking do that for you. You need to do that for yourself. I wrote this down. Rue said, if you take on someone else's negative opinion of you, then it's because you forgot that you're amazing. That's a you problem, not an everyone else problem. If you know you're amazing, then you shouldn't care what other people say. Rue was like, I learned a long time ago, other people's opinions about me are none of my business. And I think at a fundamental level, I agree with this. Like, your self-image, your self-worth comes from within, not from without. And you have to be able to give yourself that if you want to get into a place where everyone is going to be telling you negative shit for your entire career. Because that's what this is going to be. Whether you like it or not, you get out in the public eye, people are going to talk shit about you. And you have to be able to deal with that. So, like, I kind of agree with that take. But there's a little part of me that sees this as like kind of passing the buck. And I think it's a two-way street, especially in a situation like this, where you're trying to teach people that you can be, I think it's from How to Win Friends and Influence People. Be hearty and frequent with your approbation. Be fucking nice and tell people they did a good job, even when it's expected that they should have done a good job and you're not surprised that they did a good job. It's still important to tell them that they did a good job. And I think Rue is missing a little bit of that.
So I also agree with what Rue says. Ugly people are like sandpaper, right? They scratch you, they rub you the wrong way, they might make you bleed, but at the end, they're going to be worn out and ugly, right? You come out perfect and polished. 100% agree with kind of what she was putting out there into the world. This is hard, man. This is hard because, like, it comes down to, are we just going to judge these people and expect them to react in a certain way based on our judgment? Or are we going about trying to coach these people? Because I think that those two things come on in very different ways. And while I agree that not all judgment has to be super negative, right? It often does come out as picking out the flaws and letting the good go, by the
I'm here to
wayside.
tell you what you're doing wrong, not here to tell you
Correct.
what you're doing right. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think in the entertainment industry, that happens more often than not. And if we're trying to prepare these people to receive that type of attitude throughout the entertainment industry, then fine. But also, I feel like the way that Rue has positioned the show is I'm coaching these little baby drag queens into being the next top drag queen.
Yeah.
And as far as coaching methodology goes, you have to tell them what they're doing right. You have to tell them, I liked A, I liked B, I liked C. It would have been better if you did D, E, and F. And by and large, that was not the way that the judging or coaching went this entire season. So
Agree.
I see both sides of it. We have to pick what we're going to do here. If we're going American Idol, right, then we're just going to judge you. If we're coaching you to be the next top whatever, then we need to take on some coaching methodology here. Otherwise, that's not going to happen.
And the people aren't going to grow very much. And I think we see that through some of the season, that these queens didn't have a lot of opportunity to grow because they weren't given any direction on where to grow. They were just told they needed to grow.
Period.
That's pretty difficult. So yeah, I 100% agree. And maybe this sort of goes back to the point I was making before, where like it wasn't clear, I don't think, to the judges, it wasn't clear to the contestants, it wasn't clear to everybody involved in the show exactly what the show was doing. What are we doing here? Just like you said, are we critiquing people or are we trying to coach and build up new talent and performers? Because those are different things with different ends, right?
1,000%.
Yeah. So I think this whole thing kind of ends up being a bit of a learning experience for both sides. And I'm curious now because I haven't ever genuinely thought about this, especially when watching the other seasons. But I've never genuinely thought about the type of growing the judges and the judging panel needs to do along with the contestants, especially season over season. So I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because I can say now from not knowing Rue from this season that there are some times where Rue is not quite as mature as Rue is in later, like season 11, season 12, right? Talking to these queens about things. So I'm curious now that I have this framework, I'm very curious to see how Rue and the other judges kind of progress and learn throughout the show and series as well.
I hope they learn because I really would like to agree with them more. There were times where I agreed with what the judges said. Most of those times we were just critiquing people. It's not my job to coach. I'm here to critique. This is a critique, by the way. But overall, I do recognize the severe lack of actual coaching and honestly, coaching skill. The judges, by and large, and even Rue, are not very skilled coaches. And that's okay. That's fine. But I would love to see just as much growth out of the judges and out of Rue in that specific aspect. And honestly, like the rant that Rue goes on here, telling them about how you have to be confident in yourself, no matter what people say, that's the most coaching anyone on that side of the runway has done this whole season.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And that honestly is more in line with what I would expect out of Rue. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away about any future seasons. And I honestly, again, have not thought about it in this kind of framework, but like, Rue starts going off and Rue's like, look, if I had a nickel for every time someone told me I couldn't be a star as a fucking drag queen, I'd be a million billionaire by now. Like, I had to make this shit happen literally despite every single other person around me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if I learned anything from that, it's that I had to be who I am and be proud and strong in that despite everything else. And if you queens need to learn anything, it's that you are on this show because you are fantastic, because you are amazing. You shouldn't need us to fucking tell you that. You should just know that yourself. And like, yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, that's better coaching. That's giving direction and how to like grow. Victoria even chimes in a little bit and is like, that's how I feel. Like, I learned that lesson too. And that's kind of funny.
Bitch, shut up. You're on for one fucking episode. Shut the fuck up.
But
Victoria,
hey, if any of these queens been dealing with criticism, you know it's fucking Pork Chop. You know Pork Chop been dealing with it their whole fucking life. So like,
yo, listen, Pork Chop was on one episode. I was still in episode fucking 9 talking shit about Pork Chop. So
yeah,
you know what? You're right.
Pork Chop know how to deal with it. And it's clear, I think, in her response. She's like, this is totally true. Like, if Pork Chop hadn't learned that lesson a long time ago, I'd be scared to see where Pork Chop was now. Because, like, that bitch clearly got a bunch of, like, look, this is who the fuck I am. This is what I want to do. I'm going to be nice and shit to you, even if you're not nice and shit to me. Fuck you. Like,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to carry beans in my purse, motherfucker.
And I'm going to eat some fucking beans on a runway.
Hell yeah. I was hungry. They didn't let me eat dinner before we started, bitch.
Oh, yeah. But, man, this whole segment gets heated. Rue does go on like a full 5-minute long rant. The entire time.
He's yelling at him.
Oh, yeah. Very much. We were all rooting for you from fucking America's Next Top Model. How dare you say that kind of moment, which was great. It was great to see Rue just kind of explode a little bit and like let go. Because you could tell it's been bugging him for a minute. But I also want to talk again about fucking Tammy Brown. Because we keep cutting to Tammy.
I was hoping you would, bro.
Tammy is so fucking done with it. Tammy's not having fucking anything that Rue is saying. Like, rolling her eyes, doesn't give a fuck. Tammy said one of my favorite quotes of maybe all of Drag Queen ever. Talking about when Tammy and Rue are going back and forth about, you know, the judges being mean, and Rue's like, the judges need to critique things, and Tammy's like, you don't need to be mean and rude about it. Tammy says, you both called me a loser, and I don't see you out there walking with children in nature.
What?
What the fuck?
What the fuck does that even mean, Tammy? I was waiting because they actually like preview that line before you get to that moment. So like we get there and she says it, and I'm kind of like waiting for the payoff, and they kind of just move on from it. I'm like, what did she mean about that though? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Why are we
what
not
is
spending
it?
more time on this? What?
Yeah, what is it about walking with children in nature that makes it like what? I don't know. I don't understand.
I thought because they clip it on like almost every break for commercial. They clip that line, and I'm thinking there was like a story preceding this of like Tammy respecting somebody, or like doing this, or like establishing the walking with children in nature line so that it makes sense. Just genuinely a frustrated thing Tammy says, just literally out of nowhere. You both called me a loser, and I don't see you out there walking with children in nature.
I still am just flabbergasted. What does that even mean? Like the only way I can rationalize that is that Tammy was on some fucking like Save the Children commercial where she's outside walking with, you know, kids that need saving in nature. I don't know. Like there has to be some sort of reference that none of us know, because otherwise that is the weirdest thing anyone said this whole fucking time. And I watched fucking Victoria Pork Chop Parker eat beans on the runway. And that's the weirdest fucking thing that happened this whole season.
I wish I could understand it. I have no fucking clue what it means, but honestly, it's why Tammy is so fucking entertaining, because she just genuinely says from the most genuine place in the world the weirdest shit you have ever heard. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense. And it's clear she's heated when she's saying this.
Oh, she mad. She
this
real
is
mad.
Not like, oh, I thought about this. Oh, it's a joke I'm trying to lay in. It's a reference to something. No, this is like upset just saying the first thing that comes to your head, and you say you both call me a loser. I don't see you out there walking with children in nature. I'm stealing that, by the way. You're gonna hear that a ton because I'm gonna be saying it all the time.
I can't wait. But like that wasn't the only thing. Like that wasn't the end of Tammy, because that's kind of the beginning of when Rue goes on this rant about shit. And Tammy's like trying to cut in, and Rue gets louder and louder to talk over Tammy. Mm-hmm. And the whole time that Rue is talking, they're cutting back to Tammy literally making fucking faces at Rue. The whole time. Tammy is so done. Tammy's so done with this whole fucking show and everyone on it. And honestly, RuPaul is done with fucking RuPaul, because the whole time Rue's going on this honestly kind of cool rant that, I agree with, disagree with because you didn't handle the show correctly. Yeah. Tammy's just like,
just all the faces, every disrespectful ass face you can think of.
Yes, dude. It was like a child, and honestly, I was there for it, man. I'm there for someone who can be looking probably the most iconic drag queen that will ever live, RuPaul, in the face, getting some fucking this isn't tea, I don't know, but it's a hot drink. You're getting served a hot ass drink, and we can be making faces, looking her in the eye, making them faces, bro. Loved it.
Just like an indignant
I don't like
or something.
I don't like Tammy Brown at all. I don't like the look. I don't like the presentation. But goddamn, Tammy, I respect your ass. That was awesome.
I was legitimately in tears. I'm almost in tears again, thinking about how funny that was. And just watching that genuine response, watching Tammy's constant. Again, this is a significant amount. There's like a commercial break before we get into this segment. We spend maybe the first 5 minutes of this segment on like Santino and the back and forth between Chanel and everybody getting upset and blah, blah, blah. Rue and Tammy have this little spat, and Rue goes on this rant for a long fucking time. And the whole time, Tammy is just like, just every face she can fucking make, just silly, stupid, especially with the makeup and the like exaggerated 1920s look and everything, just making all kinds of silly fucking clown faces like, fuck this bitch, fuck what she's saying, I don't give a fuck about any of this.
Hell yeah. I mean, Tammy's face is already fucked up, you know what I'm saying? God. She didn't do herself no favors, and making them funny faces with that fucked up face, ooh boy, I love that shit.
Damn, so fucking funny. So genuinely funny. Honestly, this is the type of Tammy that I've seen from interviews and shit. She's very much this, very genuinely, very odd. Just the oddest shit you've ever heard. A stream, especially when she really gets to talking about something, just a stream of the weirdest sentences and collections of words you've ever heard in your life. And it is, if nothing else, quite entertaining. So I'm a little sad we didn't get to see a little bit more of that in the regular season, because I can only imagine the fucking just sassy as fuck, weird 1920s off the wall bullshit that would have happened had Tammy stayed on the season longer.
Yeah, well, I needed her gone. But you know what? I respect you a lot more because of this episode.
Oh, that shit was too funny. And it was a solid thing to end on. All of it very heated. And then we kind of like very quickly cut to Rue just like going, all right, now it's time to announce who wins the viewer choice for Miss Congeniality. So like, again, no real closure here. Just a bunch of people who are clearly very heated at each other, just moving on to something nice. I
think there was a hug moment, right? There's like y'all want to give Santino a hug? Y'all come down here, give Santino a hug, sit on his lap, and no one, except for Akasha, who like thrives off of confrontation anyway, wants to give Santino a hug. In fact, old Chanel's over there just like, almost back to Santino, giving the bombastic side eye, like, "Foo, I'd fuck you up right now if I got up. So I'm gonna stay seated over here, motherfucker. And you lucky I'm not over there whooping your little homo ass. I swear to God, bro, it was bad. It was a heated ass moment."
Chanel was pissed. Chanel specifically says no. Rue, I think a lot of that comes off of like Chanel being very heated and Rue being like, you are a star and we think you're a star. And like, I don't want you to think that we don't think you're amazing. Like, can you give me a hug? And they give each other a hug. And then Rue's like, Santino too, get over here and give it. And Chanel's like, no, fuck no. Like, no, I don't want to hug him. Get him away from me. No, thank you. No, thanks. Yeah, no one gives Santino a hug except for Akasha, and then Akasha does a little cheeky ass grab.
Yeah, a little ass grab.
Yeah,
hey, listen, I'm gonna hug you, but I'll also take you home, and make you my bitch, boy. I swear to God.
A little inappropriate. We don't condone that behavior at all. Santino kind of sucks, so like, I'm not the angriest that it happened to him, but we don't condone that. Just across the board, we don't condone touching people in any kind of way that they don't consent to. Period.
Yeah, don't condone it, but hey, it happened. I'm here to comment on it. Santino didn't seem to like not enjoy it, and honestly, that's probably the prettiest person that's grabbed his ass fucking ever. Because fucking, I don't know how you could spend 5 minutes in a room with Santino and remain turned on. So Oof. Fuck that.
Damn, got his ass. Yeah. So heated shit. We keep going back to it. I'll be thinking about it probably all week. But we start to wrap up the show. Rue gets up and goes to announce viewer's choice for Miss Congeniality. We all may be able to guess this, but it is announced that Nina Flowers wins Miss Congeniality. And like, of course.
Rightfully so. Yeah. I mean, was never in the bottom, never in the bottom two, constantly like rode that line. Earlier when we were talking about soft and feminine versus like, or soft and whatever the fuck Merle Ginsburg said about femininity. Soft and warm versus cold and edgy. Like, we're riding the line here with Nina, right? And, constantly pushing the buck, never in the bottom, made it to the final two. A super duper graceful, like, second place runner-up. How could that not be your Miss Congeniality?
Yeah, no surprises there. Obvious choice, strong competitor, and just genuinely nice, I think, through the entire show. Even when she had like opinions about Rebecca not winning and stuff, still delivered it in a very professional and nice way. It's like the only other person I think could have maybe competed with this would have been like Angina. Angina also stayed pretty nice and competitive the whole time. I'm no disappointment here that it went to Nina. I think well deserved.
Agreed.
Yeah. And that kind of did it. We did like a final lip sync for Your Life was really just all the queens and judges kind of dancing like they don't hate each other on stage for the last couple of minutes.
Like they don't hate each other is like they don't hate each other. Because listen, they do. I can tell they do.
Upset. Yeah. So that kind of brings us to a wrap on season 1 of Drag Race. How was your first time in drag, Dax?
My first time in drag. I should have expected that question, but I didn't. Here I am, once again, not expecting to be able to wrap up my thoughts when I know that we're on the final episode. What am I doing here?
It feels like a wrap-up kind of time,
It does, doesn't it? Let me think about this. Overall, I was surprised in how I'm surprised in what is the word I'm looking for?
That might not
I'm surprised
be
at how I'm surprised at the fucking I'm surprised at how into the show I got. I didn't expect a show about a bunch of men dressing as women to be as insightful and even at times professional as I found this show to be. I'm honestly speaking to you who's seen multiple seasons far into the future. I'm strangely somewhat invested at finding out how this show evolves. I'm not sure that I'm like overall fascinated by drag queens or drag as a whole. I think I
Mhm.
have a much higher appreciation for the art of drag because I'm not sure that before I even really saw it as an art as I do today. But overall, I think I have far more respect for what it takes to be successful as a drag queen. Um, and I'm really interested, again, to see kind of where this show goes and how it matures over time.
Yeah, I think like most competition shows like this, the first season's always kind of the worst. Like the
Mm-hmm.
competitors aren't quote unquote the strongest. No one knew what the show was. No one had seen anything about it. So like from episode 2 on, everyone at least has one season they can go watch before they come on the show. Right.
Right,
So
right.
there's always a little bit of that kind of improvement from season to season in competition settings like this. It reminds me a lot of like Ink Master or something like that. That's like been running for a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time. And like if you looked at the first season of that and then compare it to kind of the type of talent and stuff you see in the subsequent seasons, there is a bit of a gap. So I do think it'll be interesting because the show's been running for a long time. I think we're on season 18 or something now, and that's not inclusive of All Stars, of the drag race out of the U.S. There's Canada, there's UK. I'll say the only one that Rue goes on and also judges is UK. And like, if we get far into it, if you're really bought in, there might be a couple of seasons of that we watch. There are some fucking genuine bangers. And like, you can imagine, especially the type of like awkward humor and stuff that drag queens really like, that some people from the UK are funny as fuck. Like, there
Oh,
are
yeah.
some genuinely great performers out of UK. So
I'm already a bit of an Anglophile, so let us get a little bit deeper, and we might
might throw
branch
in
out
an
into the
episode of
UK. Well,
UK
so
or
I'm
two.
not committing to
Yeah,
anything yet. Okay, I
maybe.
still
It's
got to
still
watch
early
a couple
days.
more seasons. I don't know where I'm at, but
Yeah,
it might happen.
it might happen. Yeah, so I am excited to kind of see, and especially now getting season 1 under my belt, and just genuinely forgetting who wins season 2 and 3. So for anybody who joins us, at least for the next season, season 2, Dax and I are kind of watching this together for the first time. I am not looking it up. I've told the people around me not to remind me. I genuinely don't remember. I kind of want to go through and be surprised with it too. So for season 2, join us. It'll be kind of a new experience for both of us, and we'll get to build on this whole experience of, our first time in drag.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you are a seasoned drag race watcher, and now I am a seasoned drag race watcher.
Oh,
Look at
okay. I
that.
like
You
that.
see what I've done there?
Yeah. That'd be great if we had like a joint resume or something.
Yeah, one day we'll get hired for a job that is adjacent to this, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
we could be judges. I promise you my opinions are better than Santino's.
Oh man, yeah.
Imagine.
If Santino's the bar, I think we can both beat that,
Oh, we'll
fashion or,
bust
or
that.
otherwise, for sure. That, you
Santino
know
and
what?
Merle? Shit.
I'm a you. I didn't think about this, but now that you brought it up live as we're recording this, that's a gold mine. I'm going to repeat it every season. We are not
Yes.
successful until we get to be joint guest judges on a season of RuPaul's Drag Race or All Stars. Or All Stars. We'll take All Stars.
Yeah.
Either
Whatever.
one. But I want to be a judge so bad. Oh, I'd kill. I would be that would be the peak of my life. I like that's amazing. I want that so bad.
Bring me on. Bring me on. Bring Kevin on first. But you know
Let's
what?
do
I'll
it.
show up
Bring
if you
us
want
both
me
on
to.
together. You need both of our takes for sure. we're a duo. Yeah, man, that would be awesome. I think this is a pretty good wrap for season 1.
Is that it? Is that a wrap?
That's it. That's a wrap. That's season 1 done.
Holy shit. Whoa.
Yeah. So
I guess we reflected in everything. So like
we did all the things.
come watch season 2, Mom.
Yeah. 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 And as always, do the things like subscribe, click the bell, all the things you need to do. We really appreciate you. If you've been here through the whole first season, we hope you stick with us for the second season and maybe more. Also, keep an eye out. There might be some new content about other shows. We're branching out, thinking about some other things. We really appreciate it. As always, I'm Kevin. This is Dax. This is our first time in drag. Thanks for coming with us.
Bye.